What is going on, guys? Welcome back to day 14 of the Advent of Cyber 2024. I'm Aaron, aka Cyber Sensei. Today what we're going to be doing is something pretty interesting. We're going to be talking about certificate management. We're going to be learning why certificates are important and how they actually encrypt our traffic when we're browsing the web, and why they put the S in HTTPS. So let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to read you guys a story here so we're caught up. It's a quiet morning in the town of Warville, a wholesome town where cheer and tech come together. McSkitty is charged to protect the gift scheduler, the service elves used to schedule all the presents to be delivered in Warville. She assigned Glitch to the case to make sure the site is secure for G-Day. In the meantime, Mayor Malwares works tirelessly, hoping to not only ruin SOC-mas by redirecting presents to the wrong addresses, but also to ensure that Glitch is blamed for the attack. After all, Glitch's warnings about the same vulnerabilities Mayor Malwares is exploiting make the hacker an easy scapegoat. Up until this point, we kind of understand who the bad guy is now. It's Mayor Malware, but I remember in the beginning, we had a lot of Glitch, a lot of Mayor Malware thrown around. We didn't really know who was at fault. But this late into the game, we know it's Mayor Malware doing all this malicious things, trying to ruin SOC-mas for Warville. And Glitch is actually the good guy who's finding all these vulnerabilities and talking about how Mayor Malware has actually been able to pretty much mess up a lot of things. So today we're going to be learning about self-signed certificates, man-in-the-middle attacks, and we're going to use Burp Suite to actually intercept HTTP traffic, which we've done in the past a couple times. Coffee. Certified to slay. So what are certificates? Well, you know that thing when you connect to a website and there's a little lock next to it? Basically, that is the browser saying that it has a certificate and it's trusted, and now your traffic is encrypted via asymmetric encryption. And we'll talk just a little more about that in just a second. Essentially, how it works is there's a public key, a private key, and then the data that's going to be sent between you and the browser. And so how this works is the public key is used by the browser to encrypt all the data and the session ID that it's going to be sending over to you. And then you use the private key to actually decrypt that data for your use so that everything works flawlessly on the website. And that way everything remains encrypted end to end, and we are maintaining the integrity of the data all the way through. The CIA triad, if you don't know what that is: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. It's the core cybersecurity principle. If you don't know it, learn it, memorize it, and be able to recite it. Sign here, trust me. So a certificate authority is CA, and let's bust out the whiteboard here. So we have certificate for the browser, and we have the certificate for the person that owns, so we'll call it entity, the person that owns the website. So your browser right here, and this is the website, so the entity, we'll put entity website. So how it works is your browser is going to have a set of certificates. So if you have Google Chrome, Firefox, Safari, all these browsers come with default certificates installed. So what happens is you want to connect to the website. We'll say it's Google, right? There's going to be a handshake that happens, and there's 4 steps in this handshake, right? So we'll come back over here. We have the handshake, we have the verification, we have the key exchange, and we have the decryption. So how this works, back to the whiteboard, we're going to send over our handshake, right? So what this is essentially a request to the website saying, hey, I want to encrypt our traffic and have a secure connection so that we can actually talk without the fear of someone listening in. Right? That's essentially what we're doing here. We're establishing a secure connection. You can think about it like this, right? If you and your friend were talking about very personal things or secrets, would you want someone to be listening in the whole time? Probably not, because then they would know your secrets. So this is essentially the same thing, right? The browser and the web is asking the website, hey, I want to have this conversation in confidentiality, right? Like I don't want anyone to know what's going on between you and me and what's being sent between you and me. So can we do that? That's essentially what the browser is doing. The website's going to do is it's going to send back its certificate And the browser is going to verify that this certificate is signed by a verified certificate authority, right? Because there's two types of certificates. There's self-signed and there's certificate authority signed. The main difference is self-signed is you basically sign the certificate yourself. And then certificate authority, one of those big companies is going to sign it. And these companies are verified. These companies, they have everything out there so that they're legit. So what your browser is going to do is check the cert to see if it's verified by certificate authority. If it is, then we can proceed, right? We'll establish the secure connection, which they call it here the key exchange. So if it is, the browser will then send over a session ID encrypted, so with its public key, right? And then the website will use its private key to decrypt, read that session ID, and now we are locked in a secure connection so we can communicate back and forth without anyone ever knowing. Basically from there we can send all the data we want back and forth, and it's going to be encrypted end to end. And in a nutshell, that is how HTTPS works. We use SSL certifications, secure sockets layer, in order to encrypt the traffic going to and from, because as you've seen in the previous days, we are just using HTTP and we're able to use Burp Suite to see literally everything in plain text. So imagine if you were logging into your bank account and someone was using Burp Suite on the Wi-Fi and they now see your login to their bank. It'd be a very bad time for you, wouldn't it? So that's why certifications are extremely important and used every single day on every single website. So here we go. This is where it talks about self-signed certs and trusted CA certificates. So, basically what we were saying, right? Self-signed means someone literally created the cert and signed it themselves. However, this is good to do if you're doing like a lab environment or you're testing some functionality before going live and uploading it to like the real server and browser and all that stuff. Like in this case, we're using self-signed certs, right? Because we're in a lab environment, we're air gapped, we're not connected to the internet, so there's no way we could actually go and verify a CA. So that's why we're using self-signed certs here. But on your day-to-day website browsing, it's always going to be CA verified. All right, let's get into it. So first thing we got to do is add this to our Etsy host file. Let's go over to the good old-fashioned VM ski, and we're going to echo to Etsy host. So just to break this down a little bit, it's fairly straightforward. Echo command, all it does is essentially spit whatever you type after it back out into the command prompt. It's called standard output. That's what we call this command line. This is the actual message we want to have echoed. What this means is it's a shorter way of saying, hey, put this output into this, right? Into this file. Typically, we're putting a file after this. This is the file name right here, specified Etsy hosts. So when we do that, we can now cat out Etsy hosts. And boom, you can see it added it to the bottom. Also, what this is going to do is always add it to the bottom of the file. So we've added it to our Etsy host file. So we're good to go. Go ahead and start up Burp because it takes a little bit to load up. So we can see, yeah, we confirmed it. All right, so now we're going to go to the actual application website. And as always good to play around with the web app. You're going to be pen testing or fuzzing, just to get a lay of the land, see how the functionality works and all that good stuff, so that you have kind of a better idea of where you want to go, what you want to exploit. And just to explain what actually is happening right now. So if we cat out Etsy hosts, when we added this, what we're doing is associating an IP with a domain name. So when you type out Google in your browser is not actually going to google.com, right? It's going to the IP of Google, which is, if you don't know, it's 8.8.8.8. What it does is it does a domain name lookup, right? So it's like, okay, what's associated with 8.8.8.8? Okay, google.com. Boom, browsing to google.com. We found it. So that's what we're doing here, right? We're putting in this in the browser, Since it's in our host file, our computer is saying, okay, let me check what IP this is associated to. I'm going to go to my Etsy host file and see if it's in there. It's in there, it's associated with this IP, which is our VM IP, and it's going to navigate there. And that's how we got to this page. And here you go. So I'm sure you guys have seen this before. What this means is, and here's the lock I was talking about. So what this means is the browser cannot verify that the certificate is signed by a CA, therefore it is untrusted. And that's why it's saying connection is not secure. So what we got to do is hit advanced. It's going to give us some more information. So here, literally what I just said, certificate is not trusted because it's self-signed. And that's standard. We're expecting this because we're not connected to the internet. We can actually view the certificate. So yeah, you can see right here, it's signed by THM and they're UK in London. We got the name, we got the admin. So this is pretty cool. You get to see the actual certificate, and you can do this on any website. You just got to click that lock and you'll be able to see anything. So let's go back. We're gonna accept the risk and continue because I don't care about my data and I want everyone to steal it. Just kidding, by the way. And then we're needed with a login. So let's go ahead and go back, see what's next. So they give us some credentials. We'll go ahead and use those to log in. And we're in. Blah, blah. Submit. All right. Let me see. We get a message there. Put this down here. We have this pending, and we have a logout button. So not much functionality from the user perspective here, but let's continue on. So yeah, we've done this. So now we're gonna start up Burp. I already have it open. Boom, next, start. Then we gotta go to settings, and we're gonna add a new proxy, right? So we're gonna bind this to port. Actually, I believe it's 8080. Here, just make sure. So we want to set the listener on our attack IP box. So 8080, yep. All right, and we're gonna hit specific address because we want it to be to our attack box on port 8080. This is a standard port that we use. All right, we're good to go. Then we can go over to proxy over here. Intercept is on. And then we are going to go back to our terminal. So once we've got that set up, we are going to add another line to our Etsy host file. And this is what we're adding here. All right, let's go ahead and add that. It's going to be the same command that we ran earlier. And we'll just confirm. Yep, we're good. All right, now we got to run this. So what we're doing here is we're going to be sending requests. We're going to be simulating traffic on the website, right? So we're going to be sending requests via this script, and we're going to be intercepting them as they come in. And the reason we can do this is because the certificates are not signed by a CA. So the connection is not secure. The connection is completely open and in plain text for us to see using Burp or whatever else you're using. Let's go ahead and see what that looks like. We're going to run this. So we're gonna go actually to rooms, AOC. We're gonna LS there. We're gonna go to AOC 2024 LS day 14. And then we see the route there. So we're gonna run that. We do that with a period/route. And we're intercepting. Let's go back over to Burp. Boom, and you can see we're getting some credentials. People are logging in. We are now capturing all the traffic on the site We are getting people's logins in plain text. And now we can do very nefarious things with this. Let's go back over here. So, first flag. What was the name of the CA that signed the gift scheduler certificate? So remember, we actually went through this, right? So how you would get that is you would come to the site, you would click the lock, click this, more information, and then, okay, you could actually see it here, verified by THM. But if you didn't know that was it, you could hit view certificate, come to issuer name. This is going to be the person that issued the certificate and also signed it, and you can see THM right here. That's how you would get that. Let's go for the next flag. So look inside the post requests. What is the password of Snowball Elf? So we're gonna go to our burp. We're gonna look for Snowball Elf. Oh, there he is. And then we're gonna get his password. So it's carrot nose. Then we're gonna put that in there. Then use any of the credentials for the elves to authenticate to the gift scheduler website. What is the flag shown on the elves scheduling page? So all we would do is pretty much just copy this password, and then we're logging into the site. So we're logged in as Malware here, so we'll log out. Then we'll put Snowball Elf, put his password in, log in, and bada bing, bada boom, we get the flag. So next up, we want the password for Marta Mayware. Again, we're going to be reading the Burp Logaruskis, and I believe it was, yeah, there it is. So it's Holly Jolly SOC-mas. And then there, so we'll go ahead and copy that. And then the last one is you log in as Marta Mayware to access the admin console. So if you haven't already guessed it, we are going to log in. So Marta Mayware. And there it is. That is day 14, guys. Let's go ahead and read the rest of the story. So there is a triumphant gleam in Mayor Malware's eyes while he stares intently at the web requests pouring on his screen. He can finally see them. The post requests containing clear text credentials for the gift scheduler website. Now he only needs to wait and find the password to the privileged account. So guys, I hope you enjoyed today. We learned a lot about how your connection is secured via your browser and the website you are communicating with, and why it's important. Because if we don't have certificates, then what Mayor Malware did and what we did in this day is possible. And imagine when the internet first started and no one had certificates, right? No one had a secure connection. It was just all pure HTTP, zero encryption. People were having a field day, pretty much. So to recap, we learned what certificates are, what C certificate authorities are, the difference between a self-signed and a verified signed cert, and also the handshake that happens between your browser and a website to establish a secure connection. A lot of cool things we learned in this day. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, subscribe to follow along with the rest of the days. I'll be posting them. So it's going to be good. Appreciate you guys stopping by. If you found this valuable or you think someone else would find this interesting or valuable, please share it with them. Yeah, guys, appreciate you stopping by. We'll see you in day 15. This is Cyber Sensei Aaron. Peace.